Good afternoon, everyone. So basically, this is whether dissent is a good idea in WTO adjudication process, because persons who were associated with establishing WTO appellate body, to making it functional, they were not very encouraging of dissenting opinion in the WTO appellate body, because the idea was to maintain consistency and predictability in the system. The decision should be by consensus. So their idea was to iron out the differences behind the doors through continuous negotiations and drafting, redrafting, and appear in the public with one mind, or speak to the public about the decision of the appellate body in one mind. Now, but what we see is that the adjudication process as such is not very different from political process, in the sense that, if we go by the modern schools of jurisprudence, postmodernist, CLS and all, that is, they agree that whenever a judge takes a decision, that judge exercises a political choice, right? And but that was not so much encouraged, and in not only WTO appellate body, from the GATT era itself, the emphasis has been on consensus in every decision making, especially in adjudication. So in GATT era, we had only 4 cases where dissents were given, and only in 3 it were recorded. But in GATT era, the decisions were adopted by contracting parties by consensus. So there was a possibility of its reconsideration at the time of adoption. That possibility of reconsideration was eliminated because we wanted a more law-oriented or a rule-based system in WTO adjudication. And many times in the adoption of the panel reports in the GATT era, it was like the less powerful countries did not have much say in the adoption of the reports, panel findings. So what in WTO era system we adopted, that DSB decisions are by negative consensus, which means that panel reports are more or less automatically adopted. So for a reconsideration, what we got was an appellate body. And appellate body, as I just mentioned, that the emphasis was that we take decision by consensus rather than by, we take decisions by consensus rather than by separate opinions or dissenting opinions. Now, but the original idea was not very successful, and from EC asbestos itself, we see that the separate and dissenting opinions started coming in. And from 2016 onwards, when appellate body came in crisis, there have been many dissenting opinions. Now, to look at the type of judgment writing, there is 3 types of judgment writings. One is by seriatim, which started in common law countries, was that each judge in a bench would give separate decisions, and majority decision has to be culled out by looking at separate judgments of each of the judge, right? But then Lord Mansfield in UK and Justice Marshall in United States, they started the practice of giving opinion of the court, right? And any judge differing could give a dissenting opinion. Now, this Lord Mansfield's practice of starting giving the opinion of the court in the King's Bench, that actually helped in stabilizing the commercial law branch, especially, all the legal branches, but especially the commercial law branch in domestic and international transactions, because it provided more clarity on the parties' obligations, the findings of the court, and the obligations which parties had towards each other. So basically, they provided more clarity and consistency in the decision-making process. So it sort of helped stabilize and develop the commercial law in the domestic and international legal forum. Now, this civil law countries largely practice that decisions making has to be by consensus, and differences have to be sort of sorted out behind the doors, because civil law countries were like, because the court doesn't make law, it only gives decisions on the disputes. So there cannot be different decisions. I mean, that was the idea behind it. But even in civil law countries these days, they allow dissenting opinions, although in many countries it has to be anonymous. So basically, three approaches is that one is seriatim decision writing, one is that you give an opinion of the court with dissenting opinions, and one was, as was practiced in civil law countries, was that the consensus, one decision of the court, that is consensus decision, has to be given without any separate or dissenting opinion. Most of the countries these days allow for opinion of the court with dissenting or separate opinions, but I mean, in some countries, those separate or dissenting opinions have to be anonymous. Some countries allow the judges to give their names to it. Now, with regard to the advantages and disadvantages of giving separate and dissenting opinions supporting seriatim decision making, Justice Jefferson said that seriatim judgment, I mean, Justice Jefferson was in United States, he supported seriatim decision making as opposed to the opinion of the court. And what he said was basically that the seriatim decision judgment writing provides more transparency and accountability. A judge is able to owe her decision in public. Right, and weight that is given to a precedent depends on how many judges have supported a particular decision. So whether an interpretation or a decision of the court becomes a strong precedent or not depends on how many judges have sort of voted for that particular decision, and how much chances it has to be changed in future. And then it shows that it each judge has understood the case, has considered the case, has applied her mind to the case, right? And it also allows chances for change in the law in future, sort of on the basis of separate opinions that are developing. Now, in dissenting opinion, basically the arguments that are usually given is that it shows the personality of the judge, that what are her views on a particular issues, what school of thought she supports. It adds to, I mean, it shows court's vivacity. It helps in the development of law, because the dissenting opinion sort of may tomorrow become a majority opinion, and it appeals to the future, because a judge who writes dissenting opinion knows that the majority is not in agreement with her. But when she pens down her dissenting opinion, she's basically appealing to the future, that is in future, that and giving her reasons that why her viewpoint of particular point of view is correct or reasoning is correct, right? So that is, and it also helps to clarify the majority opinion by contrasting it with the dissenting opinion. Now, some studies which have, two empirical studies in particular, I'll refer here, which have actually shown that these views are right. One is, both studies are from National Law University, Odisha only. They are one view, and the studies have been done on Supreme Court of India. One view is one study by Yogesh Pratap Singh. What it shows is that how the dissenting opinions have actually helped in changing and developing the law in future. Sometimes the court has changed its view and adopted the dissenting opinion that was given in past. Sometimes when the courts do not change the view, legislature has adopted a law which has made a law which is in consonance with the dissenting opinion. And sometimes it just sort of, even when the courts and legislatures are not very eager to adopt, at least it is encouraged or lauded by the academicians. Another view was one of the reasons why Justice Jefferson had supported seriatim judgment writing was that basically what he said was that when decisions are given by consensus, what happens is that the dominant opinion in a particular bench that carries the day, and the remaining judges in the bench, since they know that their view won't be accepted, they sort of just become lazy, and they stop applying their mind on the issue and on the case. So one study by Rangin Pallab Tripathi actually shows that many times it happens, and there are, I mean, about 50% or more judges of the Supreme Court in India have actually, in the period that he worked between 1950 to 2010, was that 50 or more percent of the judges have actually not given any opinion on a particular case. They have just sided with the majority. So when a judge sort of is not under pressure to give her opinion, in that case, and is not assertive enough to get her opinion accepted by the majority, may just stop applying her mind on the particular issue and stop giving any judgment, and may just side with the majority. When when the issue was whether dissenting opinion should be accepted in Permanent Court of International Justice and ICJ, when this issue was debated, a similar type of arguments were given, and the arguments there given was that it will not be possible always to reach a consensus between 9 and 11 judges. So, and there will be judges who will hold different opinion, and over the time it will come, I mean, they will voice their opinion and make the public know what their opinion is. So it is better that we allow them to give their opinion in writing, and sort of, instead of creating dissensions behind the scenes, at least their opinion is, they own the accountability to their opinion and make it public. So it is much more a transparent and better way of knowing what the dissenting opinions are, right? And the arguments that were basically given in negative was that a judge may be in a dilemma. That is because if the judge sides with the majority, if it approves with the majority decision, and the decision is in favor of the country to which she belongs, in that case, the judge may be criticized as being biased or not being objective, right? And on the other hand, if she gives a decision which is against her country, then her own country people will sort of criticize her as being weak or a traitor, or, I mean, not being loyal to her own country. So this way they say that this is a problem, because when the dissenting opinion a judge is giving and her name is there on the decision, then that dilemma the judge will always be, and may never be able to reach an independent decision wherever the issue affects her country, right? And the other thing they say that it will, since in international law most of the cases take political color, so they say that it will always keep the case reopened, because if there are dissenting opinions and they are made public, then it is like it will keep the case open, because discussion and debate will continue in the public, right? And the case that way will never settle even after the decision of the court. Now in WTO appellate body, I'm just looking at appellate body decisions. I mean, there have been dissenting opinions in the panel also, but I'm looking only at the appellate body decision, because they were supposed to be laying down laws on WTO agreements. Now we see that out of 147 cases that appellate body decided till 2018, there have been separate or dissenting opinions in 11 cases. Right. So separate and concurring opinions, I'm just referring to separate opinions. So, and it started early with EC asbestos case only. Although in EC asbestos case, the judge was giving a dissenting opinion. Sorry, the judge was giving a separate opinion, not a dissenting opinion. But whatever the judge said went much broader than what the majority had said. So because in before the EC asbestos case, in in Japan alcoholic beverages 2 case, the appellate body had rejected the aim and effect test to determine like products and had accepted the criteria based test of the border tax adjustment. In EC asbestos days, in EC asbestos, the majority sort of widened it a little and said that health risk can be a determining factor, and to some extent accepted product-based PPMs. But the opinion of the separate and concurring opinion of the judge appears to be sort of reviving the aim and effect test and sort of pleading for general acceptance of PPMs, not only product-based PPMs, but also non-product-based PPMs. So even though it is a concurring opinion, but the judge appears to be the decision of the judge, the opinion of the judge is moving much beyond what the majority had accepted. Now, on dispute settlement process, there have been 4 dissenting or separate opinions. Now, one is on US zeroing, that is 21.5, that is compliance decision. And in that, basically, the appellate body member giving a dissenting opinion basically said that particular aspect on which compliance decision is being given by majority, the majority should not give it because it was not part of the original decision of the DSP. In India solar panel case, the issue was judicial economy. So it is not exactly a dissenting opinion because in judicial economy, the panel and appellate body don't decide on a particular issue if they think that the decision will not help in any way deciding the case. Now that the dissenting or the concurring or separate opinion of the judge basically in this case seems he agrees with the particular issues. In this case, the appellate body members exercise judicial economy. So the judge accepted it because seriatim writing is not allowed in panel and appellate body, so he did not give separate judgment on that issue, right? But he seems to be conversing with the majority and trying to tell them that judicial economy should not be lightly taken, because whenever an issue is referred to us by the parties and whenever parties have argued about that issue before us, it is our duty to reach a judgment on that case. So basically, it's not a dissenting opinion, but it appears to be sort of disagreeing with the majority that the majority has exercised judicial economy on that issue. Now, what we actually see is that exercise of judicial economy is also a political choice, because normally what has been found in studies is that panel and appellate body exercise judicial economy when they find that there's a lot of difference of opinion on a particular issue through third-party submissions and all. If they find that there's a lot of difference of opinion on a particular issue, they refrain from deciding on the issue, that issue, if it is not necessary to decide, if it is not too necessary to decide, and exercise judicial economy. So even when majority exercises judicial economy, it exercises a political choice. Now, the third issue, the third one was US countervailing measure. And basically, in US countervailing measure and US in Australia tobacco, the dissenting opinion, in both these cases, dissenting opinion were given. In tobacco, one was a separate concurring opinion, and but the same judge gave separate concurring opinion as well as dissenting opinion. Now, in both these cases, what happened is that both dissents appear to be telling the appellate body to exercise judicial restraint, because in both these cases, what the dissenting members basically were telling that particular issue was not necessary, was not supposed to be decided, and you do not give opinion on a particular issue. Just to give your opinion on a particular issue, you need not give a judgment on that issue, because your opinion on those issues or your judgment on those issues are in no way helping in deciding the case. So basically, they were telling the appellate body majority to exercise judicial economy. Then separate dissenting opinion have been given in very important cases, zeroing case. Now, zeroing an anti-dumping agreement, consistently, the appellate body has been holding that zeroing is inconsistent with the anti-dumping agreement. But in US, the issue has, I mean, there have been one after the other cases coming from US where zeroing has been applied in one way or the other. And but appellate body has remained consistent with its finding that in all these cases that zeroing should not be applied. And in one case where panel deferred in US Mexico steel case, the appellate body actually told the panel that it expects the panels to find although precedent system does not apply in WTO, still it expects that panel will follow their decisions, will not easily bypass the decisions. So basically, in these two separate opinions, they are important. One separate opinion is basically that the appellate body member is pleading that the debate should be laid to rest, but he conceded that there is ambiguity in the drafting of the anti-dumping agreement. In the second opinion, that is the dissenting opinion, this appellate body member basically did not say that the zeroing is allowed under the WTO agreement, but on the facts of the case, he said that even as according to the previous appellate body decisions, zeroing will be permitted in this case. So basically, he's reopening the whole idea because in different circumstances, zeroing has been challenged. I mean, zeroing has applied in different circumstances, has been challenged under WTO. And the whole reasoning he gave was that underpriced, over the prices which are above the normal value, they should not be included in the calculation of dumping margin. That whole reasoning that he gave is sort of criticizing the previous appellate body decisions that zeroing is inconsistent with the WTO agreement. So although he apparently he said that his interpretation is in accordance with previous appellate body decision, but it actually appears to be not only dissenting with the majority, but also with the previous appellate body decisions. Then in subsidies cases, there have been three separate dissenting opinion. In one case, like US Appellate Court and whatever, I mean, the dissenting opinion actually led to the Nairobi decision on export financing, export credit programs. And then the dissenting opinion in US countervailing measures in China is important in the sense that the member not only dissented in the interpretation of particular terms of the agreement on subsidies and countervailing measures. What he also said was that the panels should in future rely not only on the majority opinion, but also on the separate opinions, right? And the past appellate body reports should be examined critically. It should not be sort of blindly, I mean, panels are not bound to blindly follow the previous appellate body findings, right? And when the panels come in future panels, when they give decisions, they should also take into account the separate or dissenting opinion. So basically, whatever appellate body had said in US Mexico Steel was that it expects panel to follow its previous decisions. So basically, this appellate body member was saying that that is not necessary. So whether sort of it should be allowed in WTO, I mean, there have been other dissenting opinions where there have been other sort of discussions, not exactly dissenting opinions, but there have been divergent decisions which appear to be either influencing the academic writings or being influenced by the academic writings. But to wrap it up, basically, whether this dissenting opinion is so bad in WTO adjudication, because to start with, the members of the secretariat that helped in establishing the functioning of the panels and the appellate body, they were all for consensus decision making. That is, it will establish a rule-based system, and it will by bringing a consistency and predictability in the system. Right now, what we see is that what is the underlying policy of the WTO? Underlying policy of the WTO is that even though DSP decisions are by negative consensus, and even though it almost means that decisions are automatically adopted, but still what is it signifies the underlying policy that final decision is not given by panel and appellate body, final decision is given by DSB, right? So that is the actually there has to be a political acceptance of the decisions which, or the political acceptance of the findings or the recommendations and the reasonings of the panel and the appellate body. Then Article 9, Para 2 of Marrakesh Agreement and Article 3.2 of the DSU make this very clear, because Article 9, Para 2 of the Marrakesh Agreement says that only Ministerial Conference and General Council have the authority to adopt to have the power to adopt authoritative interpretation of the WTO agreements. So that is Ministerial Conference and General Council are part of the political branch of the WTO. And Article 3.2 of the DSU makes it clear that the recommendations and rulings and reasoning of the panel and the appellate body in no way diminish or add to the rights and obligations of the parties under the WTO agreement. So basically, although we sort of wanted a rule-based system and brought a negative consensus system as an improvement to the previous GATT system, still the problem, we do not have to forget that actually the WTO as such is the whole agreement is a policy issue, right? And they sort of like Lord Mansfield's practice of giving opinion of the court brought about sort of consistency and stability and predictability in the commercial law system. But WTO is not about the day-to-day transactions between private parties. WTO agreements are about commercial policy, and policy is a political issue, right? So the type of consistency which Mansfield brought about or wanted when he when he came up with the idea of opinion of the court, that type of consistency may not be necessary and may not be very desirable also in WTO, because on political issue or policy issues, it is always sort of desirable that a discussion and discourse continues, right? And the separate and dissenting opinions help in the generation and continuance of that discussion and discourse, right? And that provides a sort of democratic stability to that only will provide a democratic stability to the whole WTO system. Not only to the this is necessary not only for the political branch of the WTO under ministerial conference and councils committees, but also in the judicial branch, because finally whatever interpretation panel or appellate body are giving on different terms of the treaties, terms of the agreements, they are basically sort of agreement has to be read in light of those agreements, have to be read in light of those interpretations only, right? And whether they create a precedence or not, they still sort of create a legitimate expectation, as the appellate body said in the alcoholic beverages case, that previous decisions do create a legitimate expectation that future decision will be based on, will take them into account. So that is, so if encouraging a discourse and discussion in the appellate body through dissenting and separate opinions may sort of help in democratizing the WTO system and will help in its stability rather than endangering it. Because the crisis that the WTO appellate body fell from 2016, right, after 2018, it stopped functioning. That was much because of the criticism of the appellate body that it has become activist, or it has, it was criticized of judicial overreach and similar types of criticisms. So basically that sort of criticism can be taken care of if there is more discussion allowed in the decision-making process, which helps generate or which helps wider discussion in the public, in the legal academia, among the policy makers, right? And it sort of prevents feeling that something is being imposed. So because even though functioning of the appellate body has been halted largely because of the United States, the general feeling among the developing countries has been that the appellate body usually sides with the powerful countries, right? So, and this type of skepticism or this type of distrust can be taken care of if there is more discussion through separate and dissenting opinions, which brings about more transparency, and it shows that the WTO, the appellate body members or the panel members, they are thinking independently. So not necessarily siding with the powerful countries. So that is what I wanted to say. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.